There's a lot of different performers.
Welcome, legends. This is News and Rings, bringing you nonstop WWE news, match results, and inside scoops. Hit subscribe and let's dive straight in. Roman Reigns returned to WWE to challenge Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship has sparked a huge debate among fans, and it's easy to see why Survivor Series 2025 just wrapped up, and Cody Rhodes had an incredible night, successfully retaining his title in what should have been a defining moment in his career. The crowd was electric, Cody was standing tall, and the storyline felt complete until Roman Reigns' music hit. The Tribal Chief, absent for months after losing his championship at WrestleMania 40, walked down the ramp with Paul Heyman at his side, delivering a statement without saying a single word. He wants the championship back. While this moment was visually striking, it also immediately put Cody at a disadvantage and left fans questioning WWE's creative direction. The impact on Cody's championship reign. Cody Rhodes' victory over Roman at WrestleMania 40 was supposed to feel definitive. He overcame the so-called final boss, claimed the championship that eluded his father, and solidified his legacy. Yet Roman's immediate return threatens to overshadow all of that. By presenting Roman as refreshed and ready to reclaim his title while Cody is exhausted from his Survivor Series match, WWE visually frames Roman as the dominant figure. That's intentional in terms of storytelling, but it also devalues Cody's accomplishments. Every future defense will inevitably feel like a placeholder until the inevitable rematch, which undermines the significance of his reign and takes away from the narrative momentum WWE had built around him. The problem with repeating Roman versus Cody, the core issue isn't Roman Reigns himself. He's undeniably one of the best performers WWE has produced, and his work as the Tribal Chief has been historic, but rather the pattern WWE seems to rely on. Cody beat Roman at WrestleMania. That was supposed to be the culmination of years of build-up. Bringing Roman back immediately risks turning a satisfying conclusion into a temporary victory. WWE has built incredible stories with other wrestlers who could challenge Cody, but instead the focus shifts back to Roman because he is a safe, familiar draw. This repeated reliance on the same talent raises questions about WWE's creative priorities. Is the goal storytelling or simply generating immediate buzz? Short-term gains versus long-term storytelling. From a business perspective, Roman's return makes sense. He consistently draws ratings, merchandise sales, and mainstream attention. Having him in the title picture leading into WrestleMania is financially smart. But from a storytelling perspective, it's a missed opportunity. Instead of giving new challengers a chance to shine, WWE risks sending the message that Cody's reign is temporary and that Roman's presence is the only thing that matters. For months, SmackDown had been highlighting rising stars, showcasing the women's division, and developing tag teams. All of that progress risks being overshadowed as Roman reclaims his spot in the main event, Paul Heyman's role in the familiar dynamics. Paul Heyman returning with Roman adds another layer, signaling to fans that the dynamic hasn't changed. The Tribal Chief is back with his mouthpiece, presenting himself as calculated and dominant. While that works for storytelling continuity, it also misses a chance to evolve the character. Roman has lost everything, his title, his family dominance, but he's returning as the same confident, in-control figure. What if WWE took a risk and showed a more desperate or vulnerable Roman? What if he returned without Heyman, a man who's been a stabilizing influence and had to claw his way back? That approach could have created depth and allowed Cody to truly prove himself against a changed, unpredictable opponent. The Royal Rumble stakes. Looking ahead to Royal Rumble, the matchup itself is intriguing. If Cody wins, it solidifies him as the top champion and gives him definitive credibility, but there's a concern WWE might still extend the rivalry unnecessarily. If Roman wins, it risks erasing Cody's previous accomplishments and turning his reign into a transitional period between Roman's dominance. Neither scenario feels entirely satisfying from a long-term perspective. The ideal storytelling would see Cody successfully defend his title, proving he can carry the company on his own while Roman moves on to other challenges, allowing both men to grow without one undermining the other. Implications for the rest of the roster. Roman's return impacts more than just Cody SmackDown's mid-card stars, rising talent, and women's division now face reduced focus. Performers like LA Knight, Austin Theory, or Grayson Waller were building momentum, but the spotlight inevitably shifts to Roman and Cody. This isn't a reflection on their talent. It's a structural challenge WWE often faces when returning stars dominate the main event. The company has limited creative resources, and focusing too much on one feud can unintentionally stall development elsewhere on the card. Alternative approaches. There are alternative ways WWE could have used Roman effectively without overshadowing Cody. For example, Roman could return as a special attraction, wrestling major events, but avoiding weekly TV. He could pursue a different championship, elevating belts like the Intercontinental or tag titles while Cody's reign remains central. Even creatively, a storyline where Roman must work his way up the card, facing mid-card and upper-card talent to earn his shot, would add suspense and character development. Unfortunately, WWE seems to favor immediate gratification over slow-building, long-term storytelling, character growth opportunities. One of the most interesting angles would be exploring a more vulnerable Roman. Losing the title, the bloodline's influence, and his dominance could have shaken him in ways we haven't seen before. Instead of returning as the same tribal chief, he could exhibit desperation, frustration, and determination, creating a more nuanced opponent for Cody. If handled properly, this would deepen the feud, make the matches feel meaningful, and provide character growth for both men. But it requires a willingness to depart from safe, familiar booking, fan reaction, and social media conversation. The reaction from fans has been mixed, which is telling. Many are excited to see Roman back in the main event, while others are frustrated that WWE is retracing familiar ground instead of giving new talent opportunities. This division highlights the challenge WWE faces, balancing nostalgia with fresh storytelling. While the return generates conversation without meaningful payoff can quickly lead to frustration and disengagement. Roman doesn't need the championship to be relevant. His presence alone generates interest, but the focus on the title risks overshadowing other storylines and performers, possible WrestleMania scenarios. Looking ahead to WrestleMania 41, there are multiple potential scenarios. Roman could win at Royal Rumble and then lose at a subsequent event like Elimination Chamber, leaving Cody to face a new opponent at WrestleMania. Alternatively, Cody could win cleanly, establishing him as the top star and definitively ending Roman's championship chapter. The former provides immediate excitement but risks devaluing Cody's reign. The latter respects Cody's accomplishments but might disappoint fans seeking a marquee. Roman's storyline, WWE's challenge, is finding a balance that elevates both men and keeps the broader roster relevant. Final thoughts. Ultimately, Roman Reigns returning to challenge Cody Rhodes is not inherently a bad decision. Both performers are exceptional, and the match itself will likely be fantastic. The issue lies in long-term implications. It risks devaluing Cody's championship reign, overshadows rising talent, and signals that WWE's creative focus remains dependent on returning stars rather than investing in the future. Cody Rhodes has earned his place at the top, and his reign should highlight his journey, his challengers, and his legacy, not simply serve as a placeholder for Roman's return. If WWE can craft this feud thoughtfully, it has the potential to be memorable. Cody versus Roman can be compelling if the build, matches, and aftermath provide both men with meaningful growth while allowing the rest of the roster to thrive. The hope is that WWE uses this opportunity to tell a story that feels earned, balanced, and exciting. Not just a replay of familiar patterns. Fans are watching, invested, and eager to see whether Cody will prove himself definitively or whether WWE will default back to the status quo. Either way, the next few months will be a critical test of the company's ability to balance star power with long-term storytelling.